That is what the NBA Finals is all about. That was fantastic basketball. That is why I love the NBA Finals. Big players come up in big opportunities and big moments. Now, before we dive into this, bros, what the hell is on your shirt? Toothpaste. It won't come out. I don't know what to tell you, but I love this shirt, so I'm going to keep it on. Let's dive into what really matters, because my toothpaste isn't really why you're here. Unless you are, then that's weird. Let's dive into this. Wow. I mean, wow. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson late coming up huge. Kawhi Leonard late in the fourth quarter was just, whoa. Are you serious? Consistently knocking shots down? Let's start from the top, though. Kevin Durant comes back. And listen, I want to see good players out there. I want to see the best in the game competing in the finals. I want to see the best top talented players that are possible. I want to see them go out and play and battle and grind and perform in the NBA Finals. And then you watched Kevin Durant go down, and it felt weird to me. It did. I don't know how to explain the feeling. It was an awkward feeling. It was a disgusted feeling. I was really upset because Kevin Durant, when he came back, there was a different rhythm going with this basketball team. There was a different type of confidence. You can see it throughout every single player on the Warriors. When Kevin Durant came back and was in this game to start, they had an extra jump in their step. And when he went down, oh, it was crushing as a fan that just wants to see talent out on the floor. It was. And I'm not even this big Kevin Durant guy. I'm not. I thought it was soft of him to join the Warriors. But listen, at this point, man, you got to appreciate greatness. I appreciate Kawhi Leonard because he's a different type of beast. And I appreciate Kevin Durant because you see what this team is with him and you see what this team is without him. And it was such a bad injury. You see the slow-mo now, the calf and the Achilles area. There's a slow-mo video of something popping, and he leaves the game with a walking boot on and crutches. He will have an MRI tomorrow, so we won't know until then. But when you have your starting players walking him back to the tunnel, you know it's bad. Now let's get this out of the way. The Raptors fans were cheering. Listen, I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. I hear it every single day of my life. You threw snowballs at Santa. You boo everyone. You boo too much. Listen, I hear it all the time. The Raptors fans, and it's not everyone. I'm not saying just because people cheered for Kevin Durant going down that it's every Toronto fan ever. But it happened. And they tried to change it to like a cheer and a clap of appreciation. But that's not what it was. There was legitimate cheers of watching a man go down. You had Kyle Lowry making sure, yo. A lot of players on the court. Yo, calm down. That's not right. That's when the Raptors fans tried to change pace there. They booed him. Or I'm sorry, they didn't boo him. They cheered for Kevin Durant's injury at the start, and that's just not right. It felt like throughout this game, the Warriors were just holding on. Because when that emotional change occurred, you could sense the Warriors just emotionally didn't know how to handle it. It was crazy. They were crushed internally. They had this lead. It didn't feel right, though. And then they lost the lead in the fourth. And once they lost the lead, they were down 6 with 2.5 left. Plays were made. And listen, all night long, they were knocking down threes. They finished 20 of 42 from three, hitting 47.6% from behind the arc. It was insanity. While the Raptors struggled, I believe they only hit 8 total three-pointers. It was insanity. But that's what this team does. That's what Steph Curry and Klay Thompson do. Steph finished with 31 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Klay had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and they had to adjust on the fly. But late, they really did make it happen. Now, this is where everything was wild in the fourth quarter. Klay was knocking down 3-2, knocking down these shots. Nick Nurse calls a timeout. Yo, dude, come on. That literally could have costed this team the game. Now, I'm not going to specifically say that was the problem, that was the issue, but that was bad, abysmal. Kawhi Leonard's in rhythm. Kawhi Leonard's going off. Kawhi Leonard's taking over a game to potentially win the NBA Finals for the first time, and you're in your own building to do it. The city would have erupted. The whole country would have erupted. Why did you call timeout? Basketball's a game of runs. When you're on a run, you don't call a timeout. You wait for Steve Kerr to call a timeout. That was such a bad move by Nick Nurse. Very, very, very garbage. And I was stunned when I saw it. I sat there and put in my notes. Did he just call timeout? Man. Rookie mistake in that moment. And that changed what happened late. Steph Curry, bang. Klay Thompson, bang. On top of that, you have DeMarcus Cousins getting an offensive foul, setting a screen, a really poor screen, and Draymond Green with a backcourt violation. And the Raptors still couldn't get the job done. Now, speaking of Boogie Cousins, weird game for me because there was a moment where he went off and this was right when Kevin Durant got hurt and he changed part of that game. He went into a mode. But then there's times where defensively he's on Kyle Lowry and it's not his fault. It's just the matchup problem. Getting torched. It was the same play every time for Kyle Lowry. He would drive right past him. He would stop about 3 feet from the basket. DeMarcus Cousins couldn't really keep up and bang, he'd knock in a 4-footer. Consistently over and over and over again. So weird game for me with DeMarcus Cousins. I don't really know how to say he did because he had flashing moments of solid play and then defensively I'm sitting there going, wow, DeMarcus Cousins is a liability. This is one of those games where you're on the edge of your seat. You're going crazy. You can't believe it. You really can't. Heart's racing. And the Warriors pulled it out so gutsy. So gutsy. To be honest with you, you ask me, who do I think should have won the basketball game based off of their play? I still have to give it to the Warriors. They were leading essentially the entire time until late. If you ask me all around, who do you think had the better game for the full 48 minutes? I still think I have to go with the Warriors. Because if the Raptors won this game, I would have said, damn, they stole one. They snagged it late. Kawhi, that beast, took over late and made it happen and wouldn't miss. After only having, 1 point in the third quarter, he came out in the fourth and stole it. So all around, even though I thought the Warriors held on to this, I still think all around for the length of the basketball game, they played the better game. Now, I talked about this in the What Do the Raptors Have to Do to Win in Game 5 video that I made. It's not a must-win for the game that just occurred. It wasn't a must-win for the Raptors to take this game in Game 5 at home. But now they let it linger. That was the word I used. You just don't want to let it linger. And do I think the Warriors are going to be able to get the job done without Kevin Durant? No, I don't. Can they win Game 6 at home without Kevin Durant? Maybe. And then Game 7 would be a toss-up. But I'm not getting too far ahead of myself right now. What I just want to appreciate is that game. Those are the moments that you remember during the NBA Finals. There's nothing like it. As much as there's big moments in other sports, the Super Bowl, that's different because football is just on another level. And it's one game. The NBA Finals, when it comes down to making plays in clutch moments, hitting big shots, it doesn't compare. Hope had a big save for the Capitals last year to help them win the Stanley Cup against Vegas. Doesn't even compare to Steph Curry, Klay Thompson knocking down shots. It doesn't compare to Kawhi Leonard going off in that moment where he goes on a personal run to take a big lead. In the NBA Finals, it's so different. The pressure is just on another level. And for these guys to go out there and make these big shots, it's wild. One thing that the Raptors did dominate, points in the paint. They dominated the points in the paint. And the offensive rebounds, they got a lot of offensive rebounds. Going back to the Warriors, though, it wasn't just late where I thought that there were big shots. I talked about them holding on, but they answered the bell. Other big shots, Draymond Green with 6:25 left in the fourth Wide open three. I believe Iggy was wide open. He didn't want it. He kicked it over to Draymond. He drained it. He had a little smirk as he was backing up on the defensive end. That was a big shot. Fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter, Quinn Cook with a big three to stop a little bit of a Raptors run. And then in the third quarter, there was a 10-0 run for the Raptors as they were surging, and Klay stopped the run with a big three. It was similar to an earlier game in this series where the Warriors were 7-8 points, hanging in there, but every time the Raptors had an answer. Every time it was Danny Green or Kyle Lowry, someone was stepping up. That's how it felt, not to the same degree as that game earlier in the series, but that's how I felt here. There was always an answer when needed to stop a little bit of the bleeding. And that gave the Warriors enough to win in Toronto. You could talk about the last possession. I thought the Warriors, if I give credit to the Raptors for their defense and making the Warriors uncomfortable throughout the first 4 games of this series, you have to give credit to the Warriors' defense locking down on that last possession. Obviously, everyone knows Kawhi Leonard's getting the ball. They forced it out of his hands, and they didn't allow him to get it back with a good look, and Kyle Lowry ends up jacking something up in the corner there and hitting the backboard side behind the rim area by their stands. Wasn't even close. But the Warriors clamped down. And it was a very, very emotional win for the Warriors. They did grind it out, but I thought they deserved to grind it out. And now we're sitting at 3-2. And the narrative somewhat changes, but that Kevin Durant injury is never going to go away. That's a problem throughout this series. Moving forward, I think it is going to be, somewhat of a difference maker. And it was gut-wrenching to watch. Because I want to see these teams compete with the best. I want to see them compete to their fullest. And I'll tell you what, this Warriors team is hanging on. Hanging on. Looney's banged up. KD goes down. Klay looked a little bit better with that hamstring injury. It wasn't as bad as I thought I saw him the game prior. But all around, entertainment value. Wow, outstanding. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.